check this out. These brownies are only 20 calories each. But here's what's crazy. They're actually fudgy and they have that crackly crust on top that everybody loves. No weird aftertaste, no dry texture, just fudgy, crackly brownies at 20 calories a pop. All right, let's make these. First thing is you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit and then take a square baking dish like an 8x8 or a 9x9 and you're going to line it with parchment paper. So I have my sheet of parchment paper and obviously this doesn't fit in here nicely. What I like to do is you could take a pencil and outline the bottom along here, or you can just press it in like that, make sure all the corners are touching, and then lift it up and you can kind of see there's an outline of a square here. And then next what I do is I just cut out these corners along here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we are going to spray this with oil too. All right, now you have a giant crust. And there you go. It just fits right in there. And then I like to spray this, like I said, with some more spray oil just to make sure that nothing is going to stick to our pan. Another tip I have if you didn't want to do this is that you could take that parchment paper, get it damp, wring it out, and then put it back in there and it just fits in there nicely. I don't always like to do that because I feel like it makes the bottom of the brownies kind of crinkly from that crinkly parchment paper. This one, it makes it a really smooth lines on the edges of your brownies. In a big mixing bowl, we're going to whisk together our dry ingredients. You'll need 1 tablespoon of oat fiber. This is not oat flour. They're not the same thing. Oat fiber is actually made from the husk of the oat. So it's pure insoluble fiber. Nothing gets absorbed. Nothing's going to affect your blood sugars. So that's why it's 0 net carbs and 0 calories. I like to use it not only because of the 0 carb benefit, but also because it gives us structure without making our dish too heavy. And it absorbs a lot of moisture, which is why we don't have to add too much of it, just 1 tablespoon. Then 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. This is gonna be for that rich chocolatey flavor. Make sure that you are getting the cocoa powder that's 100% unsweetened, not anyone that has added sugars in it, because some of them do. The one I usually get is the Hershey's brand. It's 100% unsweetened cocoa powder is what the label says. Then 1/2 cup of sugar-free sweetener. I'm using the Kanto Classic, but you can use whatever sugar-free sweetener you want as long as it measures cup for cup with sugar. Next, we're gonna add a teaspoon of instant espresso powder or instant coffee. Don't worry, this is not gonna make your brownies taste like coffee, I promise. It actually deepens the flavor of the chocolate. It's a secret weapon to next level your brownies. And since we're making low carb brownies, we need all the help that we can get here. Then 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and just a pinch of salt. Just a little bit of salt helps that chocolate taste a little bit richer. It makes the flavor pop, so don't skip it. These 20-calorie brownies are a dream if you're watching your weight, especially once perimenopause hits. The scale just seems to climb, even if you're just eating lettuce and air and ice. It's not just calories either. Hormonal changes during perimenopause and menopause can cause weight gain, sleep troubles, skin issues. That's why when MIDI Health reached out to sponsor today's video, I felt like it was perfect timing because I myself have been experiencing some perimenopausal symptoms, especially when it comes to my sleep. I used to be the person that could fall asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow, but the last few months, I have been having the worst time trying to get to sleep at night. I'm tired, but then I find myself laying there until like 1 a.m., wide awake, brain spiraling, and worrying about the most trivial, stupid stuff. Like suddenly deciding it's urgent that I start my taxes right now. Why? It's not even tax time. And the next day I'm exhausted and I'm wondering why I was even worrying about that stuff to begin with. This is not my normal behavior. I'm not normally an anxious person either, but with talking to my girlfriends, this is a very normal symptom of perimenopause. So I booked a virtual visit with a MIDI clinician. She actually listened, like really listened to everything I was experiencing. I told her about my sleep issues, my worry spirals at night, and that I can't do hormone replacement therapy because of my high breast cancer risk. She walked me through other hormone-free options, plus lifestyle changes that we could try together. For the first time in months, I feel like there's a plan and some hope that I'm actually gonna sleep like a normal human. And it's not just me. MIDI's care actually works. In fact, 93% of women who started treatment with MIDI reported better sleep in 5 months. Getting started with MIDI is easy. You just set up your account, add in your insurance, describe your symptoms, and book your virtual visit. And if you need labs or imaging, they'll send you someplace local that takes your insurance. So if you're noticing changes in your weight, sleep, or hormones and want real answers from somebody who actually understands women's health, check out MIDI. Go to trymidi.com/KetoFocus or click the link in my description. They take insurance from all 50 states and bill your insurance just like other healthcare providers. Thank you to MIDI Health for not only sponsoring this video, but also for helping me feel truly like myself again. Set that aside and grab a medium bowl. Yep, that's the price you pay when you're making 20 calorie brownies, is that you have a lot of dishes to do. Sorry about that. We can't just add everything to the bowl, but it's worth it, I promise. We're gonna whip up 3 egg whites until you hit stiff peaks. If you're a novice baker and don't really understand how to whip up egg whites till they form stiff peaks, I'm gonna let you know how to do that. You wanna start mixing your eggs with an electric mixer just on like low, medium speed until they start to froth. And then you're gonna crank up that speed to high speed and beat them until stiff peaks form. And stiff peaks means that when you lift your beaters out, the egg whites are gonna stand up on edge instead of plopping over. But beating our egg whites helps to give us volume that's gonna be a lighter texture without adding a ton of calories. Basically, we're just sneaking some air into the batter so that it doesn't turn out like a hockey puck. So you can't get away with just mixing your egg whites straight into the chocolate batter. You want to whip it into a meringue first, and then we're going to gently fold that into the chocolate batter. I'll show you how to do that in a few seconds, but first we're going to go back to that dry ingredient bowl and we're going to add some more stuff to it, like a 1/4 cup of thick Greek yogurt. I like to use the fudgy, I think that's how you pronounce it. It sounds like phage, but I think it's pronounced fudgy. 5%. I like that for its creaminess. That's the one I used for this. But also Too Good makes a plain Greek yogurt that's lower in carbs, also still high in protein that you can use. I just only have one particular store that sells it, and I didn't feel like going there for this recipe, but it would work too. And then a 1/4 cup of milk or nut or seed milk of your choice, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. The yogurt's here for moisture and a little bit of tang, which is why we add it. I think it balances the cocoa powder nicely, and it keeps our brownies from drying out. We're gonna mix that until smooth. It's gonna be thick at this stage. Really thick, but don't worry, we're actually gonna thin that out. Time to marry our egg whites with the chocolate base. We're simply going to fold it in. Start by folding about 1/3 of the meringue to loosen up the batter, and then gently fold in another 1/3, and then finally the last bit. And I can't fold anything in without hearing Schitt's Creek in my head. David, you just fold it in.
Oh, next step is to fold in the cheese.
What does that mean? What does fold in the cheese mean?
You fold it in.
I understand that, but how do you fold it? Do you fold it in half like a piece of paper and drop it in the pot, or what do you do?
The whole scene is so funny to me because I remember being really confused as a novice amateur baker when I was a teenager trying to figure out what fold something in meant. I mean, there's no fold setting on an electric mixer. And this was back in the day before we had YouTube and Google to search stuff up. So I was always confused and probably just destroyed all of my recipes because I didn't know what it meant. But folding just means that you're scraping from the bottom and flipping it over the top. And you turn the bowl as you go so you don't knock any of the air out. I usually start from the top center and I pull it towards me and then flip it over, give my bowl a 1/4 turn, do the same motion again, keep doing that and repeating it until everything's combined. The key is that you wanna go slow and gentle here, not stirring it like a soup. You wanna keep it fluffy and keep that air in so that ensures that our brownies are gonna get thick and not like cement thin brownies. Pour this into your prepared pan and then smooth it out. And this is gonna bake in that 375° Fahrenheit oven for around 25 minutes. You're just looking for those signature cracks around the edges and a puffy top. The center might still look a little bit wet, but that's fine. It actually is going to get more fudgy and solidify as it cools. Once they're out, you're gonna let them cool completely and they will deflate a bit, but that's what makes it extra fudgy and it's normal. And then to get the 20 calories, you cut these into 16 squares. And with only 20 calories and 1 gram of carb each, you can actually have 2 or 3, or not even count at all how many you want to have a whole batch if you wanted to. If you've been missing real brownies but want to do a low calorie option, these are gonna be your new favorite. But if you aren't so concerned about calories, I have the ultimate sugar-free brownie recipe for you. It is made with a few unexpected ingredients, but the results are ultra fudgy with a taste and texture that is just like the real deal. Just click here to watch.